outside of survival, outside of uncomfortable and cringe, and you hug yourself, you talk to yourself in a mirror, outside of the internalized belief systems that you have is a range of spaces that are waiting for you to hold it, with a possibility of you holding it. Even the possibility of you seeing it it's there. Trust me, it's there. And it's not asking for hard. It is not asking for you to mountain climb to see it.
Hello guys, welcome back to the Daily Humans podcast.
That was beautiful.
Hosts, I don't know, do I introduce myself? I feel like I haven't done this in like forever.
Do you want me to say your name?
I don't know, like I feel like I'm new here. I don't know, like am I me? Am I who I think I am?
Are we in the Matrix? Is this a different realm? A different universe?
Are you Neo?
The multiverse. Are you Doctor Strange? Mate, am I me?
I think I might be actually. Like I think I'm Doctor Strange. Who are you?
Respect to you then with your time stone. Can I please borrow it? I need to do something with it.
Oh, absolutely. Here are my rings. I only have 3 on today. But you can have them all. I'll get the rest of them. I'll ship them over to you. Actually, no, I won't even ship. I'll just make a time loop and jump through. Well, I borrowed them from Thanos, so he's fine.
You borrowed them from Thanos?
Yeah, Daddy Thanos. You don't know?
Did you go up to him and you go, Daddy? Did you go, Daddy, can I please have your time stones? I just need to do something with them. None of your frickin' business. I just need to like borrow them for a second. Is that what you did? He's like, oh, it's a big job that I have to do, but I shall give them to you.
Thank you, Daddy.
Yeah.
You're the best daddy of all daddies. And then he gave them to me. And I was like, thank you. I'll give them back to you in like 5 to 7 business days. But he didn't specify if I can let other people borrow them. So there you go. You can have them now. And I know who you are, actually. You're like a brand new super human with superpowers. And I felt like I should take the moment before we talk about anything today to just make sure that everybody finally sees who you are. And she has gone by many names, many titles. For me, she's the Oracle, but in true reality, she is the Mirror. Welcome to the podcast, The Mirror. It's a joy to have you here.
Did not sign a contract. Did not consent, but I am the Mirror. I am here. Thank you for that introduction. You can't find me at the $2 shop or the secondhand shop or anything like that. I'm everywhere. That's what the Mirror is. Yeah. I'm everywhere. Ready to be shunned in people's faces and for them to run away or be triggered or anything like that. Just ready for that. Yeah. Yes. That is my superpower.
So welcome, guys. Welcome to the podcast. I am Dr. Strange, and this is The Mirror. We're going to have a real nice chat and sit down today. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some tea. We're going to have a lot of different things come up, possibly. We're just flowing with it as it goes. And, heal the world with our amazingness. Honestly, just like a little tiny side rant. Like, how hot of a couple would we be? Doctor Strange in the Mirror? Oh my God. Like, forget Marvel. We are starting our own franchise. Like, the Fantastic Four has nothing on us. So, just had to say that too.
We already are a hot couple because technically we're married. Oh my gosh, shock horror announced to the podcast.
We're getting married.
We're getting... And look out for the wedding. We're going to record every single second of it. Every single, like right to our face.
Yeah. And have lots of hot babies. You're welcome, world.
And we can name them things like reflection for one of them, you know. One
Yeah.
child can have that name. Yep. The other one can be tarot cards for another.
Yeah.
And your Doctor Strange, Time Stone. Yep. Let's make it really special.
Time stone. I like
Time
that.
Stone.
Yeah.
Meditation for the other one. Hopefully they could
Yeah.
bring some calm chi for that child heading into this world. Yeah. I think it's even if we have the full like chakra line of children, I think they all need their sacral chakra, root chakra.
That's the one. Yeah.
That's the
How
one.
many how many are there? I think there's like 8 or 7. So that's a lot of babies, but listen, the world's got to heal. We got to do what we got to do. This is our contribution to humanity. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. So,
If I'm being honest, I would name them the chakras purely for their own sanity.
yeah.
Like heading into this world, I'd be like, honey, I got to prepare you for something that would literally make your mind want to like go insane. So if I name them the chakras, at least I feel like I'm offering protection in some form.
Yeah.
But it's just that little like feeling of comfort for me. Maybe I'll name one of them Horde Cutter.
I like that. I like that.
You know,
Yeah.
you know. If you know, you know.
I like it. Great
Thank
ideas
you.
flowing from us
I'm glad
today.
you like it, wifey. Yes. And we can ask Daddy Thanos if he'd be Godfather, even though he technically tried to wipe out half of humanity. But, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, he's still Daddy. Not really, but
Still daddy.
you imagine people, oh my gosh, it's just a movie, thankfully, but
yeah.
he is very strong. Just watching the Avengers literally over the last few nights, and I watched Endgame last night. And yeah,
Respect to
I
you.
freaking love Avengers. Thank you.
Respect to you. You
So
saw
satisfying.
my most favorite person in the Avengers universe pass away, and you could do that with a
Spider-Man.
straight face. Yeah,
No,
I
I
don't like
cry. I
Spider-Man.
always cry. You don't like Spider-Man? Is that what you
It
just
was
said?
Spider-Man's fault that Iron Man died because Spider-Man couldn't get his shit together with his weak ass superpowers. What kind of superpowers are those shooting webs from your wrists? Who are you?
Really think about this. At the scene.
If Spider-Man had stayed at home, just like Tony Stark said he should, then none of this would have happened. None of it. None of it. I'm sure. The course of time would have been recreated. Doctor Strange, me, could have shown up and I could have made things right. And they took that opportunity away from me because Spider-Man couldn't listen. I trained him. I know I appear female in this lifetime. Just know I can alternate between many different forms and shapes and sizes. But
Honest, I would really love to have a general discussion with you about this because I'm thinking of
yeah.
the movie in my head and I generally want to know your points of this. I generally want
Okay.
to know. It's
Yeah.
because I want to be like, oh my gosh, Nina, how could you say that? Da, 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 da. No, I generally want to know where you're coming from. Because
Mm-hmm.
honestly, in my own perception of it, Thanos was just always meant to win at that point,
Mm.
and nothing that anyone could do would change that. But then, wait, I have to say this for you all. Doctor Strange knew. He knew because he checked 14 billion different realities, I think it was, right?
Right.
He found the one and he knew that he'd have to do one of the hardest things and go against his oath for that to happen. So that's why none of them understood why he did it. They were all like, why would he give him the time stone? so that the reality of winning could happen. Because if he'd never done that, like even if Spider-Man, in my opinion, okay, and this is not putting down your own, but in my opinion, if Spider-Man wasn't there, it wouldn't have changed the trajectory of what needed to happen for them to win.
So it's my fault, is what you're saying. Oh.
Yes, if the shoe fits, it's fitting, isn't it? We're just going to have to admit a lot of things tonight. We're starting off strong.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, it's fine.
After this, she's going to be like, we're both going to be like, I'm so sorry, but...
No, you're right. Like, I'm acting childish. It's not Spider-Man's fault. It is, after your elaborate and very concise explanation of it, it would make sense. Because, yeah, Doctor Strange saw all the different timelines, time zones, realities, what could happen. And this is how we choose to do it, I guess. And then we have the multiverses, which I've checked out of the Marvel game a little while ago, so I can't comprehend anything past Endgame. I think that was the last one, right? So if there has been any new developments, please don't come at me in the comment sections. I have no idea what's going on anymore, but you're right.
It's hard to watch after the Endgame, in my opinion. I did watch Spider-Man, and I think it's like Spider-Man in the multiverse or something happens.
Okay.
With Spider-Man. Something happens as well in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But I hate that Wanda, the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
I hate that she turns evil. Not evil per se, but she actually, you know what? That's for another topic of discussion, because she didn't actually turn evil. She just got lost in her grief. That's really what it was. She got lost in her grief, and instead of, she went external. And she was like, I'm going to ruin whatever I possibly can so I can have what I desperately need back and want. So that movie, I think it's Doctor Strange, and oh gosh, I can't remember the name. It's just the multiverse as well as her. That one there, that's a hard watch. Because I really liked her in Avengers, and to see that side, yeah. That's when you know that change is not easy. And actually, that's when you know where you're at with change, because you're watching the Avengers who were, I mean, they had their moments, but you're watching who they were throughout the movies. And then after Thanos, Captain America in the Endgame is no longer Captain America. So that's one change you've got to deal with. Iron Man's gone. Wanda has turned into what she turned into. It's like I was even sitting there going, every time I watch these, every time I feel the extent of energy of, I don't like this change. The Avengers should just be the Avengers. And that's it. Yeah.
I had a recent conversation with a friend of mine, and she was like, it's interesting because I think there's a new Avengers movie coming out soon. They have a specific name I can't remember, but she was like, and this friend is Jay, our editor. Hi, Jay, if you're listening, watching. She's always here like a ghost in the background.
Watching. I can see her laughing as she's trying to edit this right now.
But she was saying that it's interesting because you can tell by the time the Avengers movies were made, the initial ones, compared with the new generation of them, I suppose, that will be coming in, how different the generation has become in terms of healing and addressing certain things. So I think it's very interesting to see how this continues to progress, and how when we return to the Avengers and rewatch them, how we view the changes that we see. And also, really great segue into what we actually came here to talk about today, because how have you been feeling? Have you been grieving? Have you been feeling like you need to rage and destroy everything and become evil like Wanda? Because as of the date of recording, we have just passed the Scorpio full moon, and honey, honey, it has been bringing up some stuff, some juicy things, some unhidden, well, not unhidden, hidden things that become unhidden, just like the beautiful mirror.
The mirror. The mirror.
Yeah, the mirror. And so actually, before we hop on, before we actually dive in, I do want to quickly just recap for people who are not aware or would like to know. The full moon and what it signified this time around was along the lines of emotional depth, transformative tension, and the mastery of stillness. It encourages individuals to respect what fear is trying to teach them, as fear can deepen empathy and alert us to what matters. The Scorpio full moon is also seen as an opportunity for transformation and release, with a strong urge for rebirth and power. It is a time when everything you have worked on and created may come full circle, and you may be making fated decisions that align with your future goals. Saturn and Uranus, along with the karmic nodes of destiny, are involved in this lunation. Ooh, that's a spicy word. I like that. Are involved in this lunation, suggesting a focus on making mature choices while being free of the past. So, if any of you have been if any of you have gotten a resurgence of anything, leave it down in the comment section and let me ask you, Ashley. Actually, I love how that rhymes. Let me ask you, Ashley. What have the last few days been bringing up to you? What has the new moon brought up for you? The direct stare into the camera.
Before I answer, I just want to illuminate on something incredibly important that came to my mind today.
Mm-hmm.
For those that follow astrology, right, I need you to know as well that your present self and the old programming from your timeline will interpret astrology matters through that as well. And what I mean by that is your survival mode, your protector, your anxiety, I'll say the, not yours, the, will take that and morph it in the way that it has been programmed and then pass that information on to you. So when you hear about Mercury retrogrades and Pluto returning and Saturn retrogrades and this particular Scorpio moon, I need to put it out there, the importance of distinction, because I know myself, when you're online and you're seeing a lot of people talking about astrology and the way that they word it, I understand that the purpose is to have people become aware of what could happen, right? That depends on the individual. But I'm also aware that they're talking to a society that is very much in survival mode. And the way that it will be internalized will be through that first and foremost for a lot of people. So even though, and I know I met that with silence, Nina's question, because yeah, oh, Scorpio really knows how to pack a punch. Yeah, definitely. For me personally, right? But me saying that isn't installing a fear that, oh my gosh, my life is broken and everything's ruined because of it. It's just been, I've had to take some deep breaths and I've had to take a lot of observing space, like the observing space. I've had to stay in that space through what's coming up because I have the tools and awareness, and I'm still learning, and I always will be, on how to move through what comes up. But I can't help but think about all of you that are internalizing this stuff, and it becomes a level of survival.
Mm.
And it's not for that, right? The purpose of it is not to harm you. It is not to trigger you. It is not to put you in a state of survival, right? And again, this is coming from someone who's the Scorpio moon came in and uppercut the jaw. It's a bit of humor in that too, may I just say. But I always think about how the collective is absorbing this information. And I really need to remind you again that the fear mode speaks the loudest when you've always been internalizing life through that. Okay.
Mm.
You can be into astrology, but just the distinction is really important. All right. It's about safety. It's about safety. So to answer the question, just quickly, a lot of stuff's been happening for me personally in the last few weeks. And it's been hard. It has been really difficult, which feels like it's such a common word for me to use. And I want to change the trajectory on that, honestly, because I'm getting sick of saying it. Some days I'm sick of saying it. But this Scorpio new moon is essentially teaching me more about observing, more about understanding and empathy towards self, which actually corresponds with what we're talking about in this episode. It's teaching me to hold more space for what I call the protector / the anxiety, the voice that we all have, but in different ways, the one that wants to protect you so badly that it essentially makes you feel like it's the enemy, right? We'll get to that in a second. But because certain things that have happened in the last few weeks have triggered her, and she's been very loud, understandably, especially around my chest. She has also been teaching me more than I've ever seen before on her existence. And this Scorpio new moon is really enticing that even more and bringing that forth a lot more. It's not easy because I sit there and I'm like, please, I just want to feel the normalcy back in my chest again, please. But I also understand why you're there at the same time, It's not easy, but also there's understanding. So that will make more sense as we dive more into the episode. But Nina, how's it
Yes.
been, girl? Surviving on 4 hours of sleep? Such a boss.
I am alive and yet I'm not at the same time. I don't know what's happening.
Zombie, zombie. That's the first song that popped into my head.
In
What's
my
in your
head, in
head?
my
In your
head.
head.
Oh, great song. That's a legend. You're a legend for
That
bringing
song
that
used
up.
to scare me. I know.
No, I love that. It makes sense. It's I believe it was about the either the Second World War or about the war in Ireland at the time. But
Yeah.
it's a creepy song when you just listen to it and you don't know the
Beat.
reference. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not entirely the lyrics, it's just the music behind it, the
Mm,
frequency. Something about it
yeah.
has made me feel a little unsettled. Like I'm not
Hmm.
listening to it on a daily basis going, oh yeah, some like just for like jamming and moving my hips to it and all that. I'm not doing
Yeah.
that to that song. I'm kind of sitting there going, I really want to change it. It draws you in, but also
Yeah.
kind of terrifies you at the same time,
Yeah.
which I will say quickly, I actually respect. I
Yeah.
actually do respect that. When music touches you like that, yeah,
Yeah. The
yeah.
guitar
Sorry,
in that
continue.
is No need to apologize. No, the guitar in that can be very unsettling. The electric, the opening especially, it's very
Gosh,
heavy and
yeah.
very just angry, maybe.
Dun, dun, dun. And then when she starts singing, and then like this, just the sound, I just,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
wow,
unnerving. Yeah. Yeah. We really need
definitely.
to have like another episode just talking about music.
That music, hell yes. Hell yes, I love music. I could talk about it all day, any day.
Yeah.
Even if I
Same.
don't know the logistics of it, I feel so much from music, the frequency, all of it.
Yeah.
Keep making music, please. Okay.
Yes, please. But it's been interesting because I've been sitting with a lot of interesting energy. Interesting is the word of the day, guys. But yes, it's been strange, but in a good way, because I have felt, hmm, let me say it like this. I've been sitting with different parts of myself, and today, this morning, I just realized that it's all one thing, as we do. It's all connected, it's all interconnected with each other. But I have been sitting, especially since the Scorpio full moon, with this part of myself that I used to be very entangled with. And Ashley has so wisely called it the protector, or your inner protector. So it's been my inner protector. But the interesting part is, it's been, my relationship to it has changed immensely. And it's been very interesting observing myself over the last few weeks and just seeing what has come up. How am I moving differently through these? I don't want to say changes, because that is not the correct word. I feel like astrological happenings, whether it's a full moon or whatever, retrogrades, they can spark different things with different people in different ways. So I feel like they're more like tip offs in a way rather than changes. They're like tip offs, like, oh, we're going to highlight this. This can highlight that. This can highlight this area of your life or this certain feeling. And
Mm,
when it initially hit, because you said anxiety. And that was very interesting to me, because when it initially hit me, it did spark a lot of anxiety within me. And I had a chill night. Literally, I was just chilling in my room, ready to go to bed. And then all of a sudden, I was bombarded. Just had this like TikTok meme, and all of a sudden I heard this noise, this loud, irritating noise. But no, all of a sudden I was
please add to it. From
yeah,
Abby Miller, is that her name?
yeah,
From Dance
Abby
Moms. And
Miller.
all of a
Yeah.
sudden I hear this irritating noise. That was a
Oh
good one
yeah,
to add.
I just heard it in my head as I was speaking. But no, but I just was inundated by so much. I don't even know what to call it, just like negativity, just projection onto myself. Very critical, very pessimistic, putting myself down. And I was chilling. I was watching a YouTube video, I think, or I was reading. It was one of the two. And then all of a sudden I was bombarded. I'm like, what is going on? So I'm evaluating it, and I just feel my mood dropping. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you, universe. That was a nice gift that you just gave me on a drive-by. But no, it's been interesting since then, because it I had to move through some things that night leading over to that day, which actually I do want to mention this real quick. We were actually due to record right before the new moon hit, or the full moon hit, whatever moon it was. And technology, just nothing aligned. So we are redoing it today, and everything just seems to be working out somehow. Funny. But after that day, I don't know, I feel like I'm getting to know a different part of myself, or the anxiety / the protector is different to me now than it was before. And like Ashley has said, we all have parts of us that get activated when we feel unsafe, emotionally, mentally, or physically. And it's important that we can acknowledge this. So, yeah, today's episode will be about the inner protector, the person that's inside of us, or this, I like to call it a different person. I like to give them different entities. I do not have multiple personality disorder or anything like that, but I do like to label certain things because it makes it easier for me to interact with it and respect it and look at it as its own thing. And not like me, this is all that I am, my identity. No, this is just an aspect. So that may come up within this conversation between us as well, because I know, Ashley, you like to do that as well to create some distinction. But it's important to acknowledge these things. And so I'm actually very, very interested and excited to get started today. But I do, as a quick kind of disclaimer, maybe as well, I think it's not inherently bad or broken to have parts of us that scan for danger or anticipate abandonment or armor up to prevent further hurt. Because I know sometimes we have like the anxiety, the self-protection mode, so negative, you need to heal. These parts of us are there. If they are there for you, they are there for a reason. So I don't want to ever in any conversation that we have vilify that or make anybody who's listening to this feel like you need to feel something other than you're feeling. The only objection here is just to talk about what's been coming up with us and how we're developing ourselves through these shifts and moods and whatever comes up throughout life. So just keep that in mind. It's not inherently negative. It's just something that is there. And why not take a look at it? Why not try to get to know about it and see what we can do with it? So yeah. Back to you in the studio, the mirror.
Oh my gosh, I'm definitely reflecting like the sun today. Did you see me all the way from Germany, Nina? Did you see the reflection, honey?
Yes, I did.
It was brighter than the blue sky, triggering all sorts of people, even wildlife at this point. The
Wow.
reflection is large out here. I'm being sarcastic. Okay, I'm just joking. Where I wanted to start with this conversation is to take it way back to my old days. In my time, we traveled across streams, mountains, and valleys to reach halfway to the destination. We then took off our shoes, we put a ton of rocks in our backpack, and we continued on the journey to our destination. That is how it should be, like it was in the old days. I just had to add that in there because I just saw a TikTok video talking about it today when parents talked about how they went to school. It makes me laugh every time I come across it. Every time. When Nina was beautifully illustrating that the protector is not an enemy, that's really what I want to touch on a lot today and take you through the journey of why. Because this is not invalidating the fact that it literally feels like that. And there's no downplay of what this experience is like to have that part of self play out throughout your life and their role really and how their role becomes really its existence, how, the why. I call mine anxiety / the protector from the movie Inside Out #2. If you've seen it, you know how they portrayed anxiety in the movie was just perfect. Honestly, it was just perfect as a description of what anxiety is like for many people. And I thought to myself, her character really does feel like this part of self that speaks the way that it does and does things the way that it does. So I'm going to give her that name. And just to give a little understanding of what we're really talking about, if you picture yourself in those moments when you're about to do something along the lines of anything like that, you have certain thoughts, or you may have certain thoughts that come to your head revolved around, are you sure that you're good enough to do this? Are you smart enough? Are you worthy enough? Are you loved enough? What about what happened a year ago? This is unsafe. And then all of a sudden you feel the anxiety in your stomach that's building and building and building. Even on your chest, you feel it building. Your chest is pacing, your heart is racing. That's who we're talking about. It's the part that holds all the memories. It's the part that holds all the experiences. It holds the hurt and the harm that has been internalized over your lifetime. That's where it stores itself. And maybe not physically, but it's like a filing system. And I have used that before. That's how I think of it, is that they have a filing system and they just pull out the files and they go, 28th of September, 2012, this is what happened. And you're about to go and do that again? I don't think so. So it meets you with harm in a hopeful attempt that you won't do it, that you will essentially protect yourself and not put yourself in that situation. And mind you, what they're using has come from something. So the words that they're using has been internalized from whatever environment you've gotten that from. Like worthiness, as an example. If you're thinking that you're not worthy enough to do something like study a diploma, where in your life has that been internalized? And it doesn't have to necessarily be about that storyline. It can be as simple as maybe a parent telling you that you're not smart enough and that having a diploma means you're smart. So then you took those two in conjunction and thought, okay, this is what smart people do. And I'm not smart, so I can't do that. So then your protector, that's what I'm just going to call it, okay? You have free will to call it as you desire. But in this episode, I'm going to call it that. Your protector takes that and goes, okay, so you want to study this, yet remember how unworthy you are? Do you know how unintelligent you are because of what your mom said or what your dad said? It takes those experiences and molds itself into something that meets you in that moment. And that's its purpose, essentially. Its purpose is to protect. That's what we're talking about today. It's that part of you. There are so many examples I can use, so many, because this plays out in anything in your life that triggers whatever file they have in their system, that triggers the similar emotions, similar responses to it. Pulls out the file, goes through it and goes, you've gone back to that ex how many times now and you keep doing it? And now you have a new person? Well, guess what? This new person is going to be like your ex. It's doomed. This is doomed already. I bet you they're going to be exactly like them. I bet their personality is going to be exactly like them. Does that sound familiar? That's that's not your protector. That's the protector. Trying its absolute hardest to prepare you for every potential or possible scenario and reality that could happen. And for me personally, you know, she has essentially been there since I was a child, and I'm making it sound like she's like a long lost friend or a long friend for a long time, but this started for me personally when I was a child, and it's just the byproduct of environments. She took every single scenario and situation throughout my life and interpreted it and installed it in the way that she thought would be able to keep me safe, really. I never saw her like that, really. I never saw her as a protector. I saw her as an enemy, a bully, a villain, really. And I've said it to Nina before that I used to call her the bully. I used to see her as someone who stands there and just gives it to me every single day from the moment that I go to sleep to the moment I wake up, because it was every minute of every day. Scenarios that would play out in my head that essentially would help me to prepare for that potential. She was a part of that. She wasn't the creator of that, but she was a part of it. She was the one that would say, you need to say this, this, and this, because this situation can potentially happen. So if someone comes up to you and wants to scream in your face, this is what you need to do, even though it wasn't actually happening in the physical reality. She was preparing me, because that was meeting me with, she was meeting that with other issues that were internalized as well. And that's the other thing too, is that your protector takes everything else that you've internalized, including your nervous system, and just they all just kind of work together to try to create this armor, you know, to try to, as I said, keep you safe. And I truly validate anyone that doesn't see it like that. I really do. This is not to perpetuate that it's the ultimate protector. It's just for all of us, for those that are listening, to take a step back and observe. This is what this whole conversation is for, is to give observation to something that even myself included has always seen it as the enemy. Like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you constantly telling me that I'm not worthy enough to exist? Why are you constantly telling me that I can't do things? Why are you always afraid? Why are you always perpetuating the ideology that I can't do anything, that I'm not capable, you know, that I'm not qualified enough, that I'm not this? Why is it always something? Because it always has been something at one point to her, to every little bit of harm, hurt, expression of sadness, depression, anxiety, conflict, every single thing that upheavals your internal system is what she absorbs. And I'm still learning to this day, even though I see her differently, even though I observe her and there's distinction, it's difficult. It is difficult. But I'm proud to be in a space where I can observe her a lot more and realize that you say all this for a reason. You're just basically saying what so many people said, so many environments said, even if it never said it physically. You're just doing what you've always known, really. You're just doing what you've known. And deconstruct, when you start to deconstruct that too, that's what I'm feeling at the moment, is because things have changed, because I've changed, because things are moving in different directions. She's like, what? How dare you? I'm the guard. I'm the protector, not you. You don't get to make the decisions. I do. I have always made the decisions for you. I have always told you how it is. I have always said all of this to protect you. You don't get to be the one to make it now. You don't get to be the one to stand in front, on the front line, and take charge, because she's always been the one that I've made decisions through. If something wasn't safe, she was there. But if something was safe, she was there to remind me of all the possible ways that it can become unsafe. When someone was speaking in a certain way, she was there to say, it's about you. You should not go near this conversation. It's about you and it's negative. She was always the one. My life, like many of us, we live through them. Especially when this has been installed from childhood, you grow with them, you evolve through them, you live through them. Your systems And the survival of that is through them. The way that you see the world is through them. Everything in function is through them, is through the protection. When you look outside and you see the sky and everything, your protector is reminding you that you're unsafe. It's always there. So before I even continue, right, I want to let Nina speak because we've both had some discussions about this before, and this is something that I'm still in the mix of, in the middle, right? And I won't speak for Nina, but I think you've found your way through a lot of that yourself, haven't you? With your own protector, or whatever name that you give your own.
Dr. Stone.
Dr. Stone. Infinity Stone Delight. All the chakras in one without actually being a chakra.
I love what you said because it's the moving through stage that I am right now. But I think what I am starting to learn, or at least there is a perception forming, let's put it that way, is that I think that voice is not just the accumulation of all the people who've criticized you growing up, right? That would be your initial voice, the voice that you typically hear from the people you're around the most, either friends, family members, etc. That's your initial voice. And if that person is critical, you will start to think critically because that is where you get that voice from. That's how you learn to communicate with yourself. Because parents, the people we hang around in our formative years, impact us so much internally. But I digress. I don't think it's just that. I think the protector, the anxiety, whatever name we want to give it, is that plus the accumulation of not hearing our own voice. So if we constantly feel like we're not being respected, perceived, accepted in the spaces in which we are in, if we've been bullied, if we've been harassed, if we've been through, it doesn't necessarily have to be a traumatic event, but it could be. And speaking from my perspective and my experience, it was often, it came from these experiences as well. You learn to kind of tuck yourself back, pull yourself back. And that's when protector comes in, right? When you no longer feel safe and when you're in environments that make you feel safe. And then the first initial voice in your head was a critical one. Your protector will be a critical protector. It will be a critical person trying to protect you by seeking out everything that could go wrong, everything that is wrong in order to protect you and seal you off from making that mistake again or to feeling that feeling again. And so that has been me for a very long time in my life. And still, obviously, nobody's perfect. Like Ashley, you said yourself, healing is not linear, right? I do have moments where I still fall into that, but it is not as often as it used to be. The reason being, I think right now, I am in a transformational stage where I am starting. This is interesting because the protector, anxiety, it's non-binary, right? But for me, I'm starting to see it more so of like masculine and feminine. And I do want to preface before I continue, I don't think anything needs to be gendered. Feminine energy can be protective and healing, so can be masculine energy. So if it doesn't resonate with you, keep that in mind. But I'm starting to shift the perspective of the protector internally with my masculine side. The reason being because growing up, and I think this does have quite a bit to do with decentering men and the conversations you and I have had, Ashley, about this as well. Where growing up, I've always sought from very early an age somebody to protect me, and I never really felt protected. And I always sought that from like a masculine figure for whatever reason, either that's biological, psychological, I don't know. but I always sought it in a masculine figure, like a dad person or someone along those lines. And I didn't have that as present as it should have been. And so I think I don't want to go through the history of my life, but these are the days of our lives. But essentially, I think from a very early on age, I started seeking male validation because I tried to get protection from a masculine side that I didn't feel like I had growing up. And that ended in a lot of different experiences. And I've had many stories. I have many stories to share, but I think after the last few years of my life, I kind of realized I don't really need to seek not only validation in somebody else, because that person can never feel what I feel, but I've started to create a distinction that, and this can be maybe a little bit shocking, and maybe for some listening to this can be maybe a little bit off topic, but I promise it'll come right back to the point that I'm making. Um, I don't need somebody to save me. Right? I don't need a man to save me. I don't need anybody to save me. I think what I've always needed were the tools in order to align with myself and do what is best and right for me. And so currently, with the new or full moon, whatever it was, what came up in me was essentially addressing that, is kind of the breakthrough of like, the masculine energy that I was seeking is actually the masculine energy within myself that I was not acknowledging, that I was suppressing. And I never really embodied, because we've heard it before. Women in their masculine energy, you have to heal, you have to do this. It's not natural. You need to be in your feminine energy to receive things. You need to be in your feminine energy to create things. And I don't necessarily believe in any of, well, not any of that, in the binary of it. I think masculine, feminine energy, those things, we put words to it to describe something that is spiritual innately. And so I think both co create with each other. And right now, I'm kind of in a stage of my life where the protector, where once it was critical and pessimistic and telling me all these things that could go wrong and are even insulting to myself, um, it has kind of died down. And okay, I do have to preface this before I continue, because I don't think it will make sense if I don't say this, but I think it's died down due to the fact that I address now where it's coming from, the root issue, right? I've traced it back, I've journaled, I've shadow worked, I've done all these things, and I continue to do these things. However, once I started understanding that a lot of these negative or hostile or critical voices that come up in my head come from a very valid reason. And those reasons I can pursue and then change to make myself feel safe. Maybe not all the time, but most of the time. That's when that critical voice started getting softer with me. And I've started to work on it. And I started to identify it with like teenage self, childhood self. What parts of me right now are screaming in my head? And how can I be present for her? And once I started doing that continuously, the critical voice started changing into the voice of the person that I am right now, which is like, okay, I know that you're feeling upheavaled by whatever is going on. I know that whatever happened here is making you feel unsafe. I can hear it. I can see the memory that you're attaching to this moment. How can we best sit with this? How can I help you? How can we move through this? These are the conversations I've started to have and am still having. And again, I preface saying none of this is perfection. Yeah, sometimes it's going to be easier, sometimes it's not going to work at all. But the more I've done it, it's lessened the abusive voice inside my head and has replaced it with the loving, kind of gentle parenting aspect of myself, the reparenting self. And now it's shifting again. This recent move has shifted again to the point where I'm seeing it as like the protector, maybe as like more of a masculine energy within myself. And in that case, I don't have to seek it outside of myself, which is something I think and I hope everybody gets to a certain point. But also, this person is here to help me. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, the voice is not here to hurt you per se, even though it can be hurtful what it says to you. Okay, let me say that again. The voice in your head can be hurtful in the way that it communicates to you, but it doesn't want to hurt you. It actually wants to save you from the pain. I think the part where I'm still figuring things out is the aspect of how does that help me move forward? How does this transition, these energies that I'm feeling, how can I distinguish them? How can I move forward? And how can it help me, the person that I am right now and the person that I want to become, move forward into a better place? Funny thing, and Ashley, we've talked about this before as well in previous episodes. It's actually female rage that has presented itself more so now. And I've mentioned before how anger was something that I used to not be able to embody well. It used to not flow through me well. And now that I'm seeing protector over here, masculine energy, I feel all the rage inside me from the ways I've been mistreated before. And instead of critical mode protector coming in and being like, this is all the things that you need to do to protect yourself, it's more like, how dare these people, these environments, these situations treat me this way? How could they, not even how could, but just how dare they? And I'm going to make sure that you're never being put into that position again. So from before, where like you have perfectly explained it, where it's like, you need to do this and you didn't do this and you didn't do that. It wasn't going in on me. It was going in on the actual object of the problem. And was like, I'm going to protect you from this happening in the future. We're going to change shit. And so right now, I'm fluctuating. It's an interesting place to be. I don't know the answers. I don't know if I'll be here in a week or in a month from now. But right now, that's kind of the personal space where I am at with anxiety, protection, and I want to call it, if you like mythology and like archetypal things, because I like to give it archetypes, I think. Um, anima, I think it's called, which is like the inner internal masculine that all living beings have within them, that like want to go to war to protect yourself, to protect you. And it's all there for a reason. It's not there to hurt you. It's a sort of wisdom, in my opinion, that just we have to relearn how to let it communicate with us in a healthier way, if that makes sense. I hope what I said makes sense. I feel all over the place.
Nina is just proving how unlinear this really is. Just the fact that we can experience things in different ways because it goes by our own storylines, it goes by our own experiences and the context of each of those experiences. It's not the same, but it is about bringing to light and to surface what this is and how it can resonate to each of you and how we can help collectively, what we can do for the collective to help maybe create some understanding of this. Because I know myself that having understanding, the starting of that really changed my perception on it. It's like something that loves us most fiercely, but it trusts the least, you know, and it has every right to, but also validating that and also validating that your present self, and I'm speaking for myself personally here, doesn't need that kind of love anymore. Could even be quite a interesting thing for me to say and call it love because yeah, it doesn't feel like that, but that's sort of what I'm advocating is the reality that that's what it thinks that it's doing, is like loving you so fiercely by trying to protect you, even though every single part of it doesn't feel like that. And me now, who I am today, and the changes that have been happening, it's gotten to that point of trying to help her put the armor down and realize that I do have this. I've got this. And the safety that you're trying to continue to implement is old programming. It's old stuff. And it's not about invalidating what happened in the past. It's just about doing things a different way that is truly for the benefit of self, because that doing it that way and consistently living in those spaces of running from things, hiding from things, and not being intuitive, but literally living in protective fear, it was just honestly causing more stagnation in my life than anything. Even though I understand it now, it just really put me in a setback. It put me in a space so far back, and there's no movement in that. There's no movement. And I can only say that personally. I couldn't move with the heaviness of her anymore. You know, back then I could sit there and fall into it because I believed it, because I had no other way of coping. There was no other mechanism but her. The first line of defense is her. When something is being presented, it's her. When nothing is being presented, it's her. Like I'm saying, like I'm literally saying, your living is through them. And again, I just want to reiterate, I'm saying her because that's what I've given mine. You give yours whatever you want. But that's just like, there's just so much I could say with this from all the years of her, really. And when you awaken to the reality of her, it's the layering of that and the exposure of all of that. You sit back and you think to yourself, like, I cannot believe that you, I cannot believe that a part of self is created like this, that it actually exists like this purely because of life, human experience. And I know that that is such a like a big, it feels like the big bang to say that. And I know it's not, but it's one of those deep moments where you go so deep into it. You're like, I just cannot believe that in the system of coping, like this is what's created for so many of us to survive. And I want to say this in the position of deconstructing for myself personally is the fact that naming, let me say this first, naming this, whether it's a character, it gives it a voice to speak. It gives it space and redefinition. And you might not think, and I get it, you might not think that that would help in this situation. But if there's one thing I've learned about her, is that she just wants to be seen and she wants to be heard and she wants the space held for her. That's one of the biggest things that I've learned, even of recently, with things that have been happening in my personal life and the things that she's been telling me, is just how much she just wants me to say, I'm just going to hold space for you. And that's what I've been doing. I'm holding space for you and I'm observing. I'm just gonna be sitting here observing what you're saying. And also letting her know that I really do have this, even if it hurts, because it will in this human experience, even if it's painful, even if I grieve, even if I have regrets, I still do have this. I will always have this from now and onwards. And when you do get to that point as well, that's even more triggering, because now she's like, but what about all the unsafety out there? What about all the potential? I am here to guard you. That's my duty. And now you're taking away my duty? How can you do that? How can you just trust love? How can you trust being seen by people? Like, what if things happen? How can you trust any of this? What are you going to do without me? How are you going to survive, Ashley, without me? I'm the one that keeps you safe. Because essentially, what they think is survival is really just not living. Not even just that, but you might have to take a journey yourselves of showing them what living actually is and the health and safety of that, which is so possible, even in my own personal circumstances, I haven't lived a life of safety. So I've had to learn what safety is, and I've had to come to my own interpretation of that, as well as create boundaries and preferences around that, and really observe unsafety to learn what safety is, right? It literally was starting the self journey and me seeing what things are from experiencing the opposite, like seeing what safe is from unsafety, is helping me to build the showing to her that this is living and this is the way to go. This is the way to do. This is the way that it is. And it's so possible for me to live in this and be okay, no matter how this unfolds. There's just so much I want to validate with this, and finding the words to explain how crazy this journey has been through that, and the coming out of it is just, there's a lot of reframing and there's a lot of deconstructing, as you know. There's so much of it, especially when you've lived your life like this, you know? Like they will get louder when you start to see peace in whatever version that is for yourselves. They will get louder. They will become a lot more paced. They will potentially race that heart of yours and sit heavy on your chest, as they've been doing for such a long time. It's not a bad thing. It's just refigurating. It's the new job that you have, which is showing them that they can rest, really. After all these years, that's my way of saying this, is that she can rest. That's what's been happening lately, is at that point.
Wow.
It's
Amazing.
so deeply,
It's
yeah.
amazing. It's amazing.
It's really deep. That's how deep it goes. Because, like I said, I just personally can't see it any other way. I can't see it any other way, because, and I just really want to say this for all of you as well. Like, I cannot say it enough. You get it. Like, you get it. You get their existence. And once you get it, you can't unsee it. Like, you really can't. But you can show them otherwise. For the very first time in your life, even if they come at you full throttle, which they might, you can show them other means. It just takes time. That's the thing, it takes time. The first thing is seeing them. Distinction, maybe give them a name if that's what resonates to you. Give them a name, a character, whatever it is, right? Start to pick up on the patterns of their words, the things that they say in potential moments. Like, really start to observe all of that. And if you have a response or a reaction to it, that's normal. It's the starting process of something that has been constructed and unfolding itself for years, right? You got to have patience. You got to be slow, and you just have to know that it's safe and it's okay to move through this, even if you still get angry or frustrated. It just starts with acknowledgement. It starts with acknowledgement. You can even look into whatever name that you give it, what does it sound like to you? Picture that. That's where I got my character from, because mine sounds like literally her from inside out, right? What does it sound like? What is it trying to protect you from? Really think about it. Again, it's a time thing, it's a process thing. I can't say it enough, all right? I'm not expecting any of you to wake up tomorrow morning and face everything without them speaking. This is not about that. It's just observation. That's where we're starting. Observation, right? What does that part of you need to hear from you in those moments when it's most active? Maybe you could sit there and say, I know that you're trying to help by preparing me for the worst, right? I know you are. Maybe it's just that. I observed that you're trying to help me prepare for the worst because that's what you've always done. It doesn't sound like much, I know. But think about this little quick example, right? When you're seen by someone, if you've experienced that in your life, and I really hope a lot of you have, I hope everyone does really. But in the moment where you're seen in something, what does that feel like for you? You're seen for your creative arts, you're seen for your music, you're seen for your hobbies, you're seen for yourself, right? It feels really light, yeah? That is what this part of self wants for you to see them, however that entails, obviously. So even if you simply acknowledge, I know that you're telling me this because it's the story that you've always told. I know that you're telling me that this is the worst case scenario and it's going to happen because you're trying to help. I know that you're trying to help me. You can start off with that, and such a big step. It really is a big step, but it's about acknowledgement. They came and were created from multiple things or something, right? And just see what happens from that. And if nothing happens at that exact point of time, that's okay. Just keep practicing and trying. There's no such thing as perfection with any of this. It took me time to get to this point of being able to hold her. When I went through grief recently, I did something that I've never done before. I laid in my bed with the rose quartz that Nina, technically it was for someone else, but I was so drawn to it that I kept it, right? I laid in my bed and I was hugging Upper, the stuffed toy that Aiden got me, and I was hugging the rose quartz from Nina, and I held them close to my chest and I hugged them and I allowed myself to be held, which is not a common thing. Really big step. But not even just me holding myself physically, I just held her. Like, I just literally just visualized holding her because of how understandably triggered she was from experiencing this experience and remembering all the moments when this has happened, where different scenarios had made me feel like this. And I didn't try to shut her up. I didn't try to tell her to piss off or get lost, or I didn't get angry at her. I didn't scream at her. I just held her. I just held her. And it was just something I've never experienced before, put it that way. It's like a child, really. It reminds me of like an inner child, just when you hold them and they start to soften after like a tantrum or something, and they start to really come back to a space of present. It was like that. It's like coming back to a space of, oh, you see me? Like you actually see me for what I've been trying to do. It's like, yeah, I see you. And then also, I see you, and we don't need to do it like this anymore, kind of thing. Yeah. It might sound really, depending on how people internalize this stuff, it might sound just so out there, holding yourself, da da da. However, your mind internalizes this stuff is up to you guys. We're not saying this for just the woo woo of it. We're saying it because it literally, healing is there's multiple experiences to healing. There's multiple layers to healing, and in this place where we're in a human body with human emotions and human systems within, a lot of us know what it's like to be held, hugged. When you're hurt, like when you're in pain and you just want someone to hear you, right? You just want to be heard with your anger and your frustration and your sadness. You want to be heard. That's literally what this is. If your mind is trying to deal with the complexities of uncomfortability hearing this, just think of it. It is literally that. It's just something wanting to be heard and held, which is what you experience physically. Your body, your internalized systems, that's what they want from you. But because we've grown up in the numbing and the disconnection of self, we just don't, like, we hear that and we meet it with uncomfortability, and we meet it with disconnection, because it's not a
Survival
common
mode.
denominator. Survival mode. We meet it with survival mode. Yeah, we do, because it's a representation of that. I mean, how do you hold things in survival mode? You're too busy trying to survive. So yeah. But that's the very thing that I'm saying is surviving, and the whole ideology of that has never been about holding space and being held. So when you're hearing this and thinking a certain way about it, it's literally because even that part of you is not used to this, but it's confounding. That's what I'm advocating for in this episode as well, is that outside of survival, outside of uncomfortable and cringe, and you hug yourself, you talk to yourself in a mirror, outside of the internalized belief systems that you have, is a range of spaces that are waiting for you to hold it, with a possibility of you holding it. Even the possibility of you seeing it it's there. Trust me, it's there. And it's not asking for hard. It is not asking for you to mountain climb to see it. Survival mode makes it out that it's a mountain climb. It's not. When you're crying next, right? Next time you cry, just hug yourself. It's not a mountain climb, I swear. It seems like it's not. Just hug yourself, even if you're cringing. Just do it. Why not? Just do it. Even if your mind is saying, this is really weird. What if someone sees me? I'm embarrassed by this. Just do it. Just hug yourself. Because why the hell not? Why? Because Bob, Jane, and Larry are going to wonder what the hell you're doing. Bob, Jane, and Larry don't live in your body, in your mind, in your system. They are not the ones that speak through the protector. They're none of that. Just do it. It's all about practice. It's all about trying. And this space is held for you in whatever that way unfolds. That's what I really want to put out there, is just this really deep level of understanding that I do hear, but I also want to show you the possibilities of looking externally from what has always been for a lot of you, including, again, with the protector. It doesn't have to be the way that it's always been. And whatever you give it, your protector needs something from you. They're not permanent. They're not permanent. They're really not. Yeah, I'll let you speak now.
If I may say something to that as well, when I was in the most intense phases of my healing, everything felt raw, and this inner protector was on high alert constantly because of that. Everything felt like a threat, and because I didn't know how to self-soothe or regulate, like you said, Ash, I mistook survival mode as healing, shutting down. Looking back, I can see how much I was actually trying to just manage my pain, manage my emotions instead of relating to them. There was judgment, inner criticism, and even like, this is the best way that I can describe it, like emotional micromanagement. And that kept me in a loop of suffering. Even though I thought I was addressing it, I wasn't. I was just ignoring it. I was lashing out. I was projecting in one way or another. I was self-medicating through different vices or habits. I wasn't actually sitting with what these thoughts and emotions required of me, as you so perfectly stated. And I do want to be, because I'm in a different place now with this, or I'm moving into that different place now. I'm not quite sure where it's at, but I want to be a reminder to all of you who are currently undergoing this journey, no matter at which stage you're at, that as you build a deeper relationship with yourself, like Ashley said, the inner protector softens as well. It doesn't have to be, and the reason being is because it doesn't have to scream to be heard. It knows that you're actually going to be there and listen to it. And for me right now, it feels more like a partnership, a dance between, I know I said earlier, my inner feminine and my inner masculine and all of that, but it doesn't really matter what you identify it as. But just, I feel like it's a partnership between who I am now, the adult me, the versions of myself in the past, child self, teen self, masculine, feminine, whatever you want to give it. And being there, holding space for the feelings that come up and meeting it with compassion. And the fire that I do feel when it does come up isn't destructive anymore. That's what I think I was trying to say earlier. It's not going in on myself. It's just acknowledging that a situation is unfair and I will no longer tolerate that anymore. Removing myself, setting boundaries, protecting my peace, whatever that means. But for me, what's changing is that these energies are in a conversation rather than a war. And there's harmony instead of hierarchy, So I think that that's actually a really important key, but I'll leave that there for me. You don't need a hierarchy, strength, or certain emotions. They can all exist. And you just said it so perfectly, Ashley. I just have to repeat you again. It's there for you to be heard, and it's there for it to be heard by you, rather. And I'm proud of you on your journey, Ash, and I'm proud of all of you out there who are undergoing this, or even those who are just stumbling upon this for the first time. look within, see what is, and take it from there.
Yeah. And just to say as well, because I'm sure that many of you can relate to this too. I think I did touch on this a little bit, but I used to really meet her with a lot of swearing and a lot of anger and a lot of frustration and even alcohol as well to numb how strong she was. And I know I keep saying this stuff, but that's just how much I want to put it out there of the level of understanding of how heavy this is. You know, what you're carrying. That's what I'm putting out there to validate is what you're all carrying. I understand it in my own ways. I really do. And what we feel like we have to do to live, really, to shut it up, really. But like I've been saying, again, it doesn't have to be that way because you can only do that for so long. You can only do it for so long. And I swear there were some moments when she got louder when she feels like she wasn't being, well, she was never heard, really. But it's like it intensified over the years. And it got really hard to not listen, to not believe, to not allow her to run my life, really. Because no one else was protecting me. She was protecting me, even though it was mean. She was just meeting me with what other people told me and everything. But it's like when I just get how heavy it is. I just understand how heavy it is when you've never had safety, when you've never had love or validation of just pure existence. That's all you have. So it's just what you do, you know? We can't continue to live these ways. And there are multiple reasons why I say that, multiple reasons, but we can't. And if you really think about the functioning of self when you fall in line with their way of doing life, it's a loop. It's like a never-ending loop. It's a never-ending cycle that doesn't find it's even just a middle ground, really. It's just it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. That's really what I'm saying. And that is why doing the cringe and doing the uncomfortable and doing the things externally from what you've always known, it's scary, right? God, isn't it scary to meditate for the first time when you've never meditated before? It's scary to go to a yoga class or a Reiki healing or maybe to even try out EMDR. I was terrified when I was first getting, when I first, I was terrified when I did my first session of EMDR for complex PTSD. I was afraid. And it was terrifying. Even by the third session, I was still afraid, like beyond afraid because of what might come up and what I might do after that, you know? But I did it. And surprisingly, as tough as it was worth it. And I'm not going to say that's everyone's reality, right? But that's the point is that healing methods out there, opportunities for doing it differently from what's always been done is possible. That's my point. It is so possible for you to create your own version of life and for your protector to find its way to rest. It is so possible. And I'm sure we can touch more on that topic, but I just want to leave you all with something, right? Maybe something to think about. If it resonates for this point, for it, like this point of time, you can use it. If not, it's okay. If you have a current situation that you're facing, as an example, right? This is a journal prompt. Dear, whatever name that you give it, again, give it a name if you want to, otherwise you don't have to. But, a lot of you like your characters. If you like your anime, give it a name. Give it a villain. Maybe like Maleficent or something. I don't know. Whatever resonates, right? So let's say you've named it Maleficent, right? Dear Maleficent, what are you afraid will happen if I stay open? Now, I know, again, this is like collectively, this prompt will, I'm sure, resonate to some people, but if there's a current situation that you're in that's asking you to be open, right? Ask Maleficent, ask Anxiety, ask Protector, what are you afraid will happen if I stay open? And write this down, whatever comes up. No censoring. Let her answer. No shutting her up. As hard as it is, just let her speak or let it speak. Let Maleficent speak. Not you. Let Maleficent speak. I know Maleficent is kind of making it like a humor for me right now. So I'm just going to say, let it speak and write it down. And if you get that feeling of this is too difficult, this is too heavy, why not? Why are you holding it? Why hold it? Write it down. Even if you unleash on the paper, the heaviness is there because you're doing something differently, because you're doing something that is literally acknowledging, right? Just get it on the paper. Just get it on the paper. Or voice record it even. Whatever works. But just don't censor, right? Let it be messy. Let it be raw. Let it be unfair even. Let it be rage. Whatever it is, just get it on the paper. Okay? The second one. I have 3. This is the second one, right? What do you need me to know about the past? This reveals a deeper pain, right? And again, this is when, if you're ready for this, and I mean, even that's a bit linear, but if it really does resonate, even if you're afraid of it, go there. Go there. Because this reveals the deeper pain that it is trying to protect you from. That's the point, right? This is also where your compassion, where your observation can meet it, the protector, because you're able to start to understand, oh, okay, this is what happened in the past, and this is what you've been telling me, and it's obviously conjoined. You're observing. All of a sudden, you're observing. Even if you're crying through it, even if you're raging through it, you're observing. Last one, right? Actually, once you've worked through those two, take a moment to ask yourself, you presently, not the protector, you, what truth do I know now that I didn't know then? Just take a moment to think about that. You've done the first two, so the third one is, what do you know now? What are you aware of now? Even if it's a tiny increment, just something small, it's different. It's new, it's observation, it's change. Try them. It's a very small example of the starting of that journey, but it's still something. It's just something for any of you that it resonates to. Observation is key, being held is key. And look, you just never know. Even if you're terrified to do this, you just don't know until you try it. Right? That's my lasting piece that I want to give you all, as well as a really big hug We're truly just a really big collective hug. We carry this heaviness together, and our purpose is to help guide through it. If you resonate to it, right? It's your choice. It will always be your choice, but we're here to try to help guide because we know, in our own way, we know how heavy it has been. And we know still to this day what it is to carry, but also what it is to no longer carry it. Yeah.
You touched on so many amazing things, and those journal prompts are incredible. So, even I will be embarking on that. So, thank you for your wisdom.
Anytime, it's free. I give it for free.
Yeah, but even though it is heavy and it can be a lot, especially when you first address all these things, right? After years of not doing so, or being in unsafe spaces and not having been able to do so. And you finally pull that plug and let it all loose, it can be quite a lot, but just take it moment by moment. You are not alone in this experience. You are being held, you are appreciated, and you deserve to move beyond the fear. You deserve to move beyond the point of which got you to where you were in the first place, right? We deserve peace and happiness and joy. And
yes,
yeah.
we deserve to see you. Sorry, you go.
No, go ahead. That was fine.
I was just going to say, you deserve to see a life beyond the protector. You really do.
You've been dropping them bombs today, girl.
Oh, girl, I just know. I just know. It's just using the experience of self and letting you all know at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just try, please. Just try. For the sake of your own
You can do it.
lives, just do it. Please, just try.
Yeah.
Face it, face the uncomfortable, face the fear, face the ego, right? Because the ego is a part of this too. The ego is also in conjunction with the protector, trying to, protect. It's old stuff, it's old programming.
Yeah.
Take the first step. That's it. Just take the first step.
You can do it.
You can do it. I have like little maracas in my head. You can do it. You can do it. You've got this. You can do it. We've got you. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Our energy has you. Our energy is like holding you. It's just like a big, big hug. Even if you don't like hugs, that's fine. It's a high five. It's like one of those little handshake things. Yeah. Yeah. Fist pump. Like, what is it? What is it?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. And then like a kiss on the cheek if if you like that. If not, it's just like maybe in a pinky touch or an elbow touch.
A
Whatever
pinky touch. I
floats.
like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Whatever you guys like. We are open to hearing of your preferences.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, thank you guys for joining us today. We will leave you off with that. Practice, practice, practice. The journals are there, the foundation is there. You are not alone, and we can do it. We're a community. Let's heal.
Yeah. Yes to healing. Peace out.
Bye, guys. Until next time.
Bye, healers.